pretty much sums it up. Hello and welcome again to Oldtaku New Tricks, and boy oh boy I hate this! Not to bury the lead, but the long and short of this review is going to center around the fact that this is a pretty underwhelming anime, bordering on terrible, and nothing could make me sadder saying that. Now, I was aware of Boogiepop Phantom and certainly the 2000 television series, which I will be talking about at a later date, but I was completely caught off guard by the prequel series that came out a few months ago called Boogiepop and Others. The 2000 television series is set after the events of the beginning of the 2018 series, but they mostly follow the same story arcs from the original light novels, so this series is, in practice, a soft remake. Boogiepop, besides sounding like a profile on Bandcamp, is a reaper of souls that manifest themselves in the body of schoolgirl Toka Miyashita, as something akin to a split personality, rising to the surface whenever they're needed.
Takeda, imagine a world where you can't dream, or think about the future. I would consider it an imperfect place.
And apparently, they're needed to make glib, wry observations about why the character of the episode is a broken human being. Oh sure, there are plenty of dangers lurking around every corner, from literal man-eaters and superpowered despots wanting to control the world, but, you know, they can always wait. Even though Boogiepop is the eponymous character, the series treats them, and by extension the host, as a complete afterthought. The plot progression of an episode follows a handful of characters going about their machinations, often crossing with each other in seemingly disparate ways, all the while Boogiepop is waiting in the eaves, waiting for their time to come up and quickly sort the situation out, sometimes without doing much of anything.
What about the monster at the school? Aren't you going to defeat it?
It's all been taken care of. But I'm not the one who killed it. It didn't matter what choice you made since you've already lost.
Lost? How do you figure that?
It happened the moment you crossed paths with this girl.
It's like if Boogiepop was Goku, if Goku told Frieza that the Spirit Bomb was of Frieza's own doing. This kind of plot progression and storytelling can seem a bit soft-headed, but there is a method at work here. Stories center around peripheral characters and how their stories inform the overall theme of the arc. Too bad all the characters are boring buttholes and there are dozens of them at a time. Everyone who isn't a villain just talks and acts like muted, credulous little idiots, easily swayed by the goings-on of the plot and leaving little in terms of impact or anything recognizable, while all the villains are one-note megalomaniacs that spout the same tired anime cliches without any kind of individual flair or presence.
Together we'll recreate this world, with you and me at its center.
Well, it's not like I have anything personally against you boys. But regardless, I'll be using you as test subjects.
It's like the anime keeps throwing all of these characters at the audience, hoping at least one of them will stick. And none of them do. Even the one odd character that might have some interesting aspect to him fails to have much of a presence because they're playing backseat to tens of other characters, choking him out of the narrative. The effect is like having your entire cast be these one-size-fits-all archetypes, just there to be targets for the supernatural goings-on of the plotline, of which there are dozens, and none of them interesting. A hallmark of the Boogiepop franchise is that stories are often fragmented and intersected by other characters that seemingly have no commonality between them up until the end. And personally, I find that frustrating. I suspect that the intent was to help reinforce the themes of the story by having echoes of it appear from unexpected places and characters, but it just plays like the anime is being too clever for its own good. It's a parlor trick, really, meant to obfuscate the fact that the story being told is not nearly as interesting as it thinks it is.
You think I actually wanted to use you as bait and put you in danger? I only kept doing it because I thought this is what you wanted.
I've read a criticism that Boogiepop is hard to follow because of the numerous characters and plot lines going on, but I have to disagree. It's not hard to follow because of that. It's hard to follow because it's hard to care. Outside of Boogiepop themselves, the only real identifiable and memorable character is the rival slash sort of frenemy Nagi Kirima, nicknamed Fire Witch, and that's because she's the only other recurring character that actually has agency. She's 100 times more proactive than Boogiepop, but then again, a ham sandwich is more proactive than Boogiepop, so she just kind of wins by default. And even here, she's let down by some shockingly thoughtless writing.
A lot of stuff happened in my past. I won't go into details, but I stopped being normal. Besides, somebody's gotta stand up for what's right.
And I'm explaining my character motivation and arc to you, and therefore the audience, because obvious writing is good writing. And before you lay the blame for moments like this on the dub, I assure you the writing is just as thick in the subtitled version. Nothing can sap the life out of you like reading a character treatise that is spouting from Boogiepop's mouth like a Wikipedia article to said character.
It's simple. You were under the assumption Sky couldn't harm you because your physical nature was different from humans. But the truth is, that doesn't matter.
For a series that likes to put on airs as being this dense and thoroughly thought-provoking yarn, it sure likes to treat the audience like morons by spoon-feeding them moments like this. And that's when the writing isn't just being plain stupid.
Hurry up and let him do you!
Yes, sir.
Anyway, not like that mission needs to be rushed, but what do you have to report on the other one?
Why the hell did you tell her to hurry up and boink a guy if it didn't need to be rushed?
One contradiction! Eating another!
I thought you said echoes couldn't talk, so how'd you get all this information? If all he can do is repeat things.
I just had this feeling.
Pro tip, if a line in your script can be immediately followed by a John Lovitz, "Yeah, that's the ticket," rewrite it. It might seem like a nitpick, especially cast against the numbing plot and characters, but the sound mixing is disruptively terrible. The ambient music beds do well enough to create an atmosphere of uneasiness, but the choice of when the music cuts in and out is whiplash-inducing, made all the worse by the purposefully jarring editing.
Everyone's anxious about something, and sometimes you just want everything around you to be destroyed.
Masaki, why don't you try becoming Boogiepop?
I eventually gave up on the series about halfway through its run. I just couldn't bring myself to slog through another 9 episodes just to find out what will happen to characters I couldn't care less about. The fact that the rest of the series are separate arcs with even more characters and plot lines might mean that there is a better story somewhere down the road, but considering the choice and how the first few arcs went, I don't believe they could be better told. I would love to be wrong and find out that the series pulled a miracle and righted the ship on its last run, but I sincerely doubt it did. I have a feeling that when I eventually talk about Boogiepop Phantom on Anime Abandoned, I will have way more nicer things to say about it than Boogiepop and others. But for right now, I just want to wash the taste out of my mouth. But what about all of you? What did you think of Boogiepop and others?